All right. Welcome in, everyone, to our deep dive today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be taking a look at Texas Hills Vineyard.
Oh, nice.
And all the source material that we have for this deep dive is from their website.
Okay. Yeah, their website's great.
It's very interesting. And this is particularly interesting to me because it's Texas wines. You know?
Right.
So I'm very interested in seeing what we find out about this.
Yeah, me too. It's this is a real up-and-coming area for wine.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting to see, like, a region kind of embracing its potential for this.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. So we're talking Texas Hill Country, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they describe it as being nestled in the Pedernales River Valley.
Yeah.
And these are picturesque.
Well, they're not exaggerating. I mean, it really is a beautiful area.
Yeah.
Known for its rolling hills and just that scenic beauty.
It's the charm.
Perfect for growing grapes. They even call them gentle hills, which I just think is so cute.
It really does paint a lovely picture.
Yeah.
I can picture it now, like sitting there with a glass of wine, looking out over the vineyard.
Absolutely, with the Texas sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
Beating down on you.
Yeah, that's right. The Texas sun is no joke.
It's no joke.
Right. But it's interesting because they talk about how you get the intense sun during the day.
Right.
But then it cools off at night.
Exactly. And that's really important, for the grapes to develop those complex flavors.
Right. So it's not just about the heat.
Right.
It's about that contrast.
Yeah.
Which I think really speaks to what makes Texas wines unique.
Mm-hmm.
We've got that kind of that cool down period.
Yeah, it's that diurnal shift, that
right.
really makes a difference.
Right. And speaking of uniqueness,
yes,
they say that they're all about Texas-grown grapes for Texas wine.
Yeah, which like a badge of honor. It is a statement for sure.
They're really proud to be part of this local movement, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, and it's like they're saying, hey, we're not trying to be Napa Valley.
Exactly.
We're doing our own thing here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And
good for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That focus on local identity, I think, is becoming increasingly important.
Yeah.
In the wine world.
Right.
Consumers are looking for authenticity, for wines that reflect a specific place.
Mm-hmm.
And
so they're definitely
on brand for that.
Yeah, on brand.
And they are on the Texas Independence Wine Trail.
That's right.
Now, for anyone who might not know, what exactly is a wine trail?
Well, think of it as like a roadmap.
Okay.
For wine lovers. Mm-hmm. A route that connects different wineries in a region.
Right.
All ready for you to explore.
Okay, so I could spend like a weekend going from vineyard to vineyard.
Yep. Hopping around.
Tasting wines, seeing the scenery.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
It's a fantastic way
that sounds
to immerse yourself in the region and the wine culture.
Right.
And I think for the wineries, it's great, because it helps with visibility.
Yeah. Get you on the map.
Gets them on the map.
Yeah.
Draws in the tourists and the enthusiasts.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got the location.
Yeah.
We've got the Texas pride. Mm-hmm. But what about the wines themselves?
Okay.
What are they growing?
So they've got a mix of reds and whites.
Okay.
For reds, we're looking at Sangiovese, Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, Merlot. Mm-hmm. And then for the white wine lovers, they offer Pinot Grigio.
Sangiovese in Texas.
Right.
Now, that's interesting.
It's not what you'd expect.
No, because that's what they use in, like, Chianti.
Exactly. Those classic Italian wines.
Yeah. The most popular Italian wines.
Yeah.
So that's not what I expected to see.
It's a bit unexpected.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Sangiovese, it's known for its high acidity.
Right.
And those savory notes. It's not your typical, fruit bomb grape.
Right. It makes you wonder what kind of Sangiovese they're making in Texas.
Yeah.
And how it's affected by
that Texas terroir.
That Texas terroir.
Yeah.
For sure.
It raises some questions. For sure.
Absolutely. And it looks like they're... they offer tours of the vineyards and winemaking facilities.
They do.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So you can go beyond just the tasting.
Exactly.
You can actually see how it's made. Mm-hmm. I bet those tours are really fascinating.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
You get to see
behind the scenes,
that process and all the and expertise that goes into it.
Right. And speaking of behind the scenes, the owner is Jim Mueller.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
it's nice to put a face to a name.
Yeah, it makes it feel more personal, for sure.
Definitely.
Now, I did notice that they are open every day of the week.
Okay.
But they stay open a bit later. on Fridays and Saturdays.
Oh, interesting.
What do you think that says about the place?
Well, maybe they're trying to create more of a social atmosphere on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they have some live music or events planned, or
maybe they get a little bit more lively,
yeah,
on the weekends, which makes sense.
So it's not just about the wine tasting. It's about the whole experience.
Yeah.
The ambiance, the connection.
Right.
So
it's a destination.
Yeah. Right. I think that's what's so interesting about wineries. Like this, they're becoming destinations, places to linger, to enjoy, to connect with the land and the people behind the wine.
Be tapping into that desire that we all have.
Yeah.
To slow down.
I think so. And savor the moment.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the location and the grapes and kind of the overall vibe, but I'm dying to know.
Yeah.
What do these Texas wines taste like?
Right.
I mean, that's the whole point.
Of course, that's what it's all about.
Right.
Unfortunately, we can't crack open a bottle right here.
Right.
But we could definitely, make some educated guesses based on what we know.
All right. So let's play wine detective.
Okay.
We've got Texas climate, Texas terroir, those unique grape varietals.
Right.
What are we thinking?
Okay.
In terms of flavor profiles?
Well, Texas is known for producing wines that have a bold, fruit-forward character. All that intense Texas sun really ripens the grapes fully.
Which means higher sugar content. And as a result, higher alcohol content.
So we're talking full-bodied wines.
Yeah.
With a bit of a kick.
A little bit of a kick.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah.
But are they just big fruit bombs or...
Right. Are they one-dimensional?
Yeah.
Is there more to it?
Yeah.
There's definitely more to it.
Yeah.
Remember those limestone-rich soils we talked about in the hill country? Those often lend a distinct minerality.
Minerality to the
Okay, I've heard that term before. What does it actually mean?
Okay, so think of it as a sort of earthy, stony quality.
Okay.
You might get hints of flint, chalk.
Interesting.
Or even a slight saltiness.
Okay.
It adds complexity and depth beyond just the fruit.
So it's not just a big fruit explosion. There's some other stuff going on.
There are other layers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got the bold fruit from the sun, a layer of minerality from the soil. Yes.
What else?
Don't forget about those cooler nights.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We talked about that. They're essential for preserving acidity in the grapes. So we should expect a nice balance between that ripe fruit and a refreshing acidity.
So it's not just about being big and bold.
Right.
It's also about having that structure and balance.
Exactly.
That really makes a wine enjoyable.
Yes. It's like a perfectly choreographed dance.
Ooh.
Between all those different flavor components.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about the winemaker's role in all of this.
Of course not.
They make so many choices that influence the final taste.
Absolutely.
Fermentation techniques, oak aging, all that.
Right, all those decisions.
Yeah.
Like they're composing a symphony.
Yes.
But with flavors and aromas.
Exactly like a culinary symphony.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to think about all the different hands that touch a bottle of wine.
Before it reaches our glass.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it is.
From grape to glass.
It really is.
For sure.
And all this talk about Texas wine is really challenging my preconceived notions.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest. I did not have high expectations.
I understand.
For Texas wines.
Yeah, they haven't always had the best reputation.
No.
Some people still think of them as overly sweet or lacking complexity.
Right. But what we're seeing here with Texas Hills Vineyard.
What we're seeing with this whole Texas wine movement is a real dedication to quality.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're really trying to...
They're focused on showcasing what Texas terroir can offer.
Yeah.
And these winemakers are pushing boundaries. They're experimenting. They're really honing their craft.
And I think consumers are starting to notice.
Yeah, I think so too.
People are more interested now in knowing where their food and drinks come from. And they appreciate that connection.
That sense of place.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure. So for our listener who's been so kind to share these sources with us.
Yes.
What's the takeaway here?
Okay, well, I think it boils down to a few things.
Okay.
First, it challenges us to question our assumptions. We often have these preconceived notions about what makes a good wine region.
Right.
But the reality is that great wine can come from unexpected places.
Like Texas.
Like Texas, exactly.
Who knew? So it's about being open to new experiences.
Yes.
And exploring beyond the familiar.
I love that.
Yeah.
Second, I think this deep dive really highlights the power of terroir.
Yeah.
In shaping the character of a wine.
Right.
You know, we've seen how the climate, the soil, those unique Texas grapes, all contribute to that flavor profile.
It's like tasting a piece of the land.
Yes.
I know.
A sense of place captured in a bottle. And finally,
okay,
I think this is a story about passion and dedication. You know, Jim Mueller and other Texas winemakers are showing us what's possible when you combine knowledge, skill, and a love for the craft.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to take risks.
Right.
And to push the boundaries of what Texas wine can be.
It's inspiring.
It is.
It makes you want to jump in the car.
I know.
Head to Texas Hill Country.
Yeah.
And just see it all for yourself.
I'd raise a glass to that.
I would too.
Cheers.
You know, this whole conversation has got me thinking, like, what actually shapes a region's wine identity? We've talked about Texas Hills Vineyard.
Yeah.
But, like, what about the bigger picture?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one that people have been debating for centuries.
Right.
It's not just one thing.
Right.
It's a whole blend of elements. You know, some you can measure, some you can only feel.
Right. So let's try to unpack that a little bit. I mean, we've already talked about terroir, right?
Yeah.
Climate, the soil, even the way that the land lies.
The topography.
Yeah, those are like the foundation.
Exactly. Those are the building blocks.
Right.
You know, those factors really dictate what grapes will actually grow well in a region.
Okay.
And that obviously has a huge impact on the types of wines that you can produce.
Right. It determines the style.
Right.
But there's more to it than just dirt and weather.
Right.
There's a human element to this as well.
Yeah. The winemaker skill and decisions are essential.
Right.
You know, they're choosing the grapes. They're deciding how to ferment the wine. How long to age it in oak. Every choice they make along the way shapes that final wine.
It's like they're composing a symphony.
Yeah.
But instead of notes, it's like flavors and aromas.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a culinary symphony.
Right. And then you can't forget about, like, history and culture.
Oh, that's huge.
Right. Wine has been a part of human life.
Right.
For thousands of years.
For millennia.
Yeah. So it's like a region's traditions. Its stories, even its values.
Yeah.
Get kind of woven into the wine itself.
They all get intertwined.
Yeah.
You know, think about like the classic European wine regions. Those wines are steeped in centuries of tradition.
Right.
Their styles are often dictated by rules that have been passed down for generations.
Right. And then you have these newer wine regions, like Texas, where there's more freedom to experiment, to break the mold.
Exactly. And that's a key difference, you know?
Right.
So a region's wine identity is really this tapestry woven from the land, the people, and time itself.
Yeah, it really makes you appreciate how much goes into every bottle.
Yeah.
You know?
It's more than just a drink.
Yeah, it is.
It's a story.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what makes exploring the world of wine so fascinating.
I completely agree.
So to our listener,
yes,
who sparked this whole deep dive with us.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, what do you think?
Has this changed your view of Texas wine at all?
Did we open your eyes to something new?
Maybe this has even inspired you to go beyond Texas.
Yeah.
Explore some other unexpected wine regions.
Right.
I mean, there are so many hidden gems out there.
Just waiting to be discovered.
Right.
Right.
It's all about keeping an open mind and a sense of adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. Until our next deep dive.
Yes.
Cheers to the journey.
Cheers.